I really give credit to Etsy ads for not only helping me scale my brands as fast as possible, but also helped me build a layer or an extra moat around my business in the rise of competition. Learning how to invest properly in your Etsy ads does a lot of things for your shop's optimization, not only helping you rank not only in the paid search positions, but also organically as well. And I think that's one key thing that a lot of people forget is that when you have an increased amount of conversions, an increased amount of clicks, more activity happening on your Etsy listing, that also allows you to get reviews faster. And then this kind of snowball effect of expansion just happens in your shop a lot faster, but also again, helps you maintain your rank and competitiveness compared to other people, especially other shops that aren't investing in their marketing. And obviously with the increase of impressions and clicks, it yields more revenue and also more profit. What I've usually seen in the past with a good dialed in Etsy ads account with it set to the max with good product offerings is at minimum at least a 3x increase in your revenue. And that's really like worst case scenario. And that normally means that you're increasing your profit at least 2x again on the minimum range. As you can see in this brand, we've been able to do consistently over $20,000 per month for over 2 years now. Into 2023, right? Pretty much every single month we've been able to do about over $20,000+. And again, I really attribute that to having a really dialed in Etsy ads account. The goal with your Etsy ads account is not just to turn your Etsy ads on to the max of $1,000 a day and then just blindly hope that it's gonna do the work for you. Now, if that happened, that's great, but that's really not the goal. The goal with every Etsy ads account is to figure out how to tweak the dials to get you to the max profitability. So if your Etsy ads marketing cost percentage in 1 month was 20%, right? The next month we want to get it to 18%. And then the next month we want to get it to 16% and consistently get that lower and lower and lower to increase profits. And it's also important to keep a note that in order to analyze your Etsy ads data, we need to be doing it on a month-over-month basis, turning on and off your Etsy ads because we get emotional and we want to start turning things off when we don't see profit right away. This really, really kills momentum. It also doesn't help you in the algorithm, and it also just doesn't give you clear data on what's working and what's not working when you're just sporadically turning things on and off from one day to the next. You need to get holistic data on a month-over-month basis so you can make higher level decisions about your store. Also keep in mind that only spending a couple dollars to maybe get 1 or 2 sales on a listing is also not enough data. You really need to get thousands of impressions and hundreds of clicks to make real higher level decisions about what's working and what's not working. When I throw out the number $1,000 a day spend for a lot of Etsy merchants, that's a really scary number. And the fear with that usually is derived from them not having a clear understanding of the breakdown of their current business model. In order for you to run your Etsy ads properly, you need to know a very important key metric of your business. So that is your total revenue less refunds, less discounts, less your real-time selling fees, less your cost of goods sold, less your merchant fees, less your shipping costs, and possibly if you're out of the country, maybe that sales tax that was built into your sale price. So we need to know total revenue less all of these things. And what that's going to give you is your net profit percentage before marketing. And so that then allows you to know how much piece of the pie is left for you to dedicate to another big variable expense that is your marketing cost percentage, right? And as we mentioned before, if 1 month it's trailing 20% and your net profit percentage before ads is 40%, then that means you're making a 20% profit. Then we can work on getting that 20% marketing cost percentage down to 10%. And the way that you calculate your marketing cost percentage is by taking your ad spend in that month total, and you're gonna divide it by your revenue less discounts and refunds. And that's how I like to calculate my marketing cost percentage. Now, if you're somebody that's built a business model and you do this calculation for the first time, and you realize that your net profit percentage before marketing is really slim, like only 10 or 12%, that really doesn't leave a lot of room left over when it comes to investing in your business for marketing. And so it's in your best interest to focus on new product opportunities that have increased profit margins, so then you can actually clear a profit at the end of the month with marketing invested. And it's not to say that you can't make money in low margin niches. I'm not saying that at all. You definitely can still make money. It's just a really risky business, and it's not a true long-term viable business, because there will be a day that you need to invest in marketing. And when that day comes, if your business model doesn't make sense from a margin standpoint, then it's gonna be really hard for you to want to continue to grow the business when it won't make money with ads turned on. Guys, I can talk about Etsy ads for hours, and I actually have hours of Etsy ads content in my channel. So if I don't answer one of your questions, make sure you queue it above this video. I have a full Etsy ads playlist just dedicated to that, whether you're selling digital products, physical products, print on demand products. I have different explanations for all of these types of things inside my channel. All of your questions, I promise there is an answer to it for free in this channel somewhere. And I just want to point this out because it's really important to note that when it comes to not just Etsy ads, but strategy for any type of business model, right? Every single business has different needs, wants, fears, and goals when it comes to the operation, when it comes to margins, finances, how it's run, fulfillment, their pain points. And so the Etsy ad strategy that works for a super high ticket business model like solid gold jewelry versus someone selling $4 digital downloads, those are two completely different ad strategies, not one size fits all. So the goal for my ads trainings, especially in this video or in any of my ads trainings, it's not, this is the one strategy that's one size fits all, because that's just not how it works, unfortunately. You're not really gonna get that in-depth strategy unless you work one-on-one with somebody that's dissecting your actual businesses, with your listings, with your price points, with your value propositions, because everything is niche and business specific. So the goal is for you to take out the information and understand how to play this game of Etsy ads and apply the rules to your specific use case. So without further ado, let's get into a secret tip number one. By the way, guys, these are not really secret. These are just the facts of the Etsy ads game. So let's just put that aside. Now, like I mentioned, people get really scared when I throw out $1,000 a day. Now, just because I have my budget set to $1,000 a day, it doesn't mean it's actually spending $1,000 a day. And we're actually going to talk more about that later. But the point is, that's usually a scary idea for people. And hopefully this first tip is going to give you some comfort on why that shouldn't be as scary as it seems or sounds. The first thing that you have to understand is that it's Etsy pay per click. It's PPC, meaning you're only paying when someone either clicks on your listing or if you're running offsite ads and someone purchases, which is actually even better. It's actually a better deal for you that way instead of click. So the point is here is that when someone searches something into the search bar, Etsy's gonna show your product based off that search term, which is really the hottest traffic on the internet. It's people with their wallet open looking to buy something. This is not like TikTok or Facebook where you're just mindlessly scrolling. People go to Etsy with their wallet open knowing that they're about to make a purchase decision. So Etsy's showing your listing to a data sample of people that are the hottest people on the internet for your product that you're selling with the keywords that it has in it. So what does that mean then? That means then if you have your budget set to $100 a day versus $1,000 a day, if your marketing cost percentage at the end of the month is 20%, you switching that ad budget from $100 a day versus $1,000 a day. January it was $100, and then now February you just put it to $1,000. That doesn't mean that your ad cost percentage is all of a sudden going to skyrocket to say 50%. The revenue you make is proportional to the budget set. So it doesn't mean then that all of a sudden your ads become more expensive because you raise your budget. It means that your top line is also going to increase as well, because it's in the title. It's called pay per click. So this should give you some comfort when it comes to actually scaling your ads. So even if you want to set your ad budget to as low as $5 a day for the next 3 months, even at $5 a day, that's not a lot of money and not a lot of data that you can collect, but it is some data that is going to tell you something. So you switching from $5 a day to $20 a day doesn't mean that if you were trailing 10% marketing cost percentage, now that you have it to $50 a day, now it's all of a sudden sudden gonna go to 40% marketing cost percentage, right? It should scale proportional to the amount of clicks you're getting, because it's the same data sample, the same hyper-targeted people clicking your listings at the $5 a day spend versus the $50 a day spend. Now, one variable that can affect this is if you start launching hundreds of listings and trying to run ads to it, right? Or a lot of listings. Like last month, my marketing cost percentage, I think, actually went up. So here's an example. In November of 2023, if we take 3,200 divided by 25,000, let's just calculate that real fast. 3,215 divided by 25,559, right? That's a 12.5 marketing cost percentage. Whereas if we go to 2024 January, I think our marketing cost percentage actually increased to 3,833 divided by 24,234. Yeah. So it went from 12.5 to 15.8. So it increased. And the reason it went up so much from November of just 2023 to January of 2024 is because we launched like 50 new listings. We were testing out, split testing new listings, new products, new bundles, right? And that actually increased that marketing cost percentage. Now, our marketing cost percentage ranges anywhere from 10 to like 18%, 18% being really, really high. But the reason it would increase is because I'm investing in new listings, because I'm testing out more products to sell, trying to pick out the best sellers. And that's just a normal part of the process. And so now we're gonna tweak the dials and start turning off the listings that aren't profitable. Now, again, I have full Etsy ads trainings on that alone that has many variables at play. It's not as black and white as you think. It's not just turning off things, at random. There is a method to the madness. But anyway, the first secret here, to summarize this all up, is that your Etsy spend is proportional to the revenue, right? And that means that there should be comfort in that once you know what your marketing cost percentage is before marketing. So we need that number first, so we know how much pie is left over when it comes to how much can go to your Etsy PPC. The second tip is learning how to calculate your break-even ROAS. Your break-even ROAS is the single most important metric that is the KPI, or the key performance indicator, that tells you that whether or not you are profitable or not on the ad level. So if you go into your Etsy ads account, you have a column here called ROAS. ROAS is return on ad spend. If I give you $1 and you give me $2 back, that means that you would have a 2x return on ad spend in this column. ROAS in itself stands for return on ad spend, right? So it's the return you make on the money you spend. So if I give you $1 and you give me $2, that's a 2x return on my money, but that doesn't mean I was profitable per se, right? Because in that exchange, I had to give you a product and I had to spend money. So if that product had cost associated with the sale, then I actually could have lost money at a 2x ROAS. So we talked about calculating your net profit percentage before marketing, and that's a really key metric that we need in order to calculate this, which is your break-even ROAS. Break-even ROAS is what's telling us whether or not on the ad level we're making money, losing money, or breaking even, right? So how to calculate your break-even ROAS is very simple. It's 1 divided by your net profit percentage before marketing. So if you discover that your net profit percentage before marketing is 40%, so that means that based off your sale price, if you're selling an item for $100 and your take home after fees and costs and shipping and packaging is $40, that means that you have a $40 net profit percentage before marketing. So if I take 1 divided by 0.4, that's a 2.5 break-even ROAS. So if my break-even ROAS was 2.5, that means that anything in this column under 2.5, that means I'm not breaking even on the ad level. Now, this is not the extent that I analyze my ads. That doesn't mean anything under here, I'm gonna turn off the ad, right? That just means that it's signaling me, saying that we're not making money on the ad level for that time period. And I like to analyze my ads in a pretty good time period, maybe like 2 to 3 month windows. I don't just like to look in the last 30 days because Etsy ads for me can spend pretty slow. But again, if you're selling something in a low ticket niche, like this is a really high ticket niche, I'm selling at the top price point per the niche, right? So my ads spend really slow. But if you're selling really cheap items, it might spend really, really fast. If you also have thousands of listings, it's probably gonna spend a lot, like it might actually spend your whole budget, where in my case, it doesn't. And again, that's where it's like not one size fits all. So I like to look at my time range in a broader time range, where if you're in a niche that it spends really fast, like if you have your budget set to $1,000 and it's spending $800, right? You're gonna pay extra attention, right? This brand will only spend like max 200 a day, even though it's been set to 1,000 for over 2 years. Guys, if you're getting some value out of this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I put out videos regularly. I have thousands of hours of free information about Etsy and building an Etsy brand online. So make sure you subscribe and comment any of your questions down below, because I do answer all of my own comments, so I can help you out further down there as well. But again, guys, that is not to the extent that I am making higher level decisions, but it is getting my attention on the ad level of what my winners are, right? And obviously the heavy hitters are the ones that are spending the most amount of money with the highest ROAS, right? And those are the ones that we want to pay attention to the most. So in recap, number one was gain the confidence by knowing your numbers. This is going to give you the confidence to scale and understand how to scale to profitability when you know your numbers month over month when it comes to your marketing cost percentage, your net profit percentage before marketing, right? Number two, understanding your break-even ROAS. Break-even ROAS is going to help you know when you are on an ad level profitable or not. Again, this is not to the extent of when you are going to turn things on and off per se. This video could go on for literally 2 hours, but I really implore you to queue full trainings next on really how to tweak the dials and all the different variables that are at play here, because it's not just, oh, it's not breaking even on my ROAS level. Maybe it is for you, but some businesses will not be just, that won't be the extent of which it's getting turned on or off. Again, it's contingent on what you're selling, what your price point is. So that's why I don't want you just to go run ads. This video is really like giving you some insight into Etsy ads, but you really got to watch full videos. The worst thing you can do is just go blindly spend money and waste money on your Etsy listings, okay? And for number three, I'll give you a little bit more insight into tweaking the dials. Now, like I mentioned, there is so much more that goes into this that I really suggest you cue that video next. What does tweaking the dials even mean? Tweaking the dials means going through your Etsy listings and looking at the ones that are spending the most, right? Because Etsy's choosing to spend the most money on those for a reason, right? You're gonna have listings in the back that just don't spend money, and that's a normal occurrence. Etsy's picking out the ones that they like the best for a reason, and we wanna pay attention to those listings most. Those listings that start spending the most normally, hopefully, will yield you the most revenue, or they'll become bestsellers. Sometimes Etsy listings decide to spend a lot of money and they're not profitable with ads turned on, and that's okay. And we can turn those off later. But when it comes to tweaking the dials, one, looking at what's spending the most, what's working in those listings, are the ones spending the most actually profitable, like over our break-even ROAS? Moreover, what is the actual cost percentage of those ads compared to top line revenue? So a lot of people like to look at what we spent versus what the ad generated me. I like to look what the ad spent versus the lifetime revenue of the listing itself, and what is that marketing cost percentage, right? So we really want to pay attention to the ones that are spending a lot, but then also making a lot compared to top line, organic and paid collectively. So again, tweaking the dials is comprised of paying attention to those, seeing what's working in those listings, what imagery, what keywords, what product opportunity. If it was a pink dog collar that took off, maybe we go out and now we make 30 more product listings with pink dog collars, but with a bunch of different textures or styles or patterns. But we know that that image with that staging environment is the one that did really well. So let's go find 10 more of those to put into our collection that hopefully take off and do just as well. Optimizing your listings or your next rendition of products based off what's working is one way to tweak the dials. Two is by turning off listings that are dead. Now, I particularly like to turn off listings that are not profitable compared to top line sales. So if it's under my break-even ROAS on the ad level, that just gets my attention. But then I want to go actually investigate a little bit further and compare the total spend compared to the lifetime revenue of the actual listing and see what that metric is. But again, that is just my strategy for me. If you're somebody that spends really, really fast, you might want to be a little bit more strict. And maybe if it's not hitting your break-even ROAS, that's the only KPI that you look at for a certain time period that turns it off. But again, more full trainings. I cannot emphasize this enough. There's more trainings about this that you can check out, or you can cue that playlist next. So pulling out KPIs of the top performers to then be inspired for our future rendition of products. Turning off the dead listings is what's going to help us get that marketing cost percentage down over time. And then if you haven't already, just continue increasing the budget as you are tweaking the dial. So if you're only spending $5 a day, maybe go to $10 a day. And then maybe in a couple of weeks, go to $15 a day and slowly increase your budget over time. Now, other than that, that's really the extent of Etsy ads. The only real thing that you can do is turn off negative keywords. And that's when you gained enough data on the listings and you can see the search terms that you basically got clicks for. And sometimes for whatever reason, Etsy is going to show your listing to people for keywords that don't even exist in your listing. So if you're selling 24-inch pillow covers and you got a bunch of clicks for 20-inch pillow covers, but you don't even sell 20-inch pillow covers, those are anomaly words that you're wasting money on. So you can turn off those negative keywords. And other than that, there's really not much that you can do when it comes to tweaking the dials. But the key thing here is the turning on and off of listings and knowing when to turn them on and off. So again, watch full trainings for that. I've probably said this like 8 times now, and I'm just probably annoying you guys, but super, super important stuff. Overall, guys, thank you so much for staying until the end of this video. If you have any comments or questions, please comment in this comment section down below. I do help you as much as I can right there in the comments, and I can even direct you to the right videos that will help guide you further. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.